Welcome to Springboards 2022 On Demand.
I pull at the skin and the fat on my hip bones, and the bones beneath become sharp as hangers. Watching a thing become another thing makes me hopeful. Watching string turn into the Eiffel Tower with only 3 fingers and a mouth pulling at its peak is a mystery I should write down.
As a story about a kid who literally has ESP and the ability to read thoughts and emotions, Z is a bit like a superhero. And like all superheroes, she has to learn how to use her superpowers.
Mina lived in her own little world where nothing ever bothered her except for one thing. It wasn't her father, who was always bringing home surprises from the outside world. And it wasn't the tin can he found that made his jokes louder. And it wasn't the collection of antique art that he thought would make them rich.
We all have stories to tell and therefore can be storytellers. We all use turns of phrase and can use and learn new ones. And so we can all be poets.
Creating characters who are around the age of your students gives you time to reflect on what you see in your students.
Students are absolutely, encouraged and should be in an ELA classroom to be reading a book. But I think there are a lot of really interesting ways to throw in some dynamic content into the classroom that is equal or perhaps greater value than simply just reading a text.
So for me, as an LGBTQ plus educator, the obvious story that is in this, we can talk about labels and not feeling like the label on the outside matches the inside, is great for introducing the idea of trans people to a child. But also, anybody who doesn't feel great about the way that people see them versus how they feel.
I decided to explore using podcasts in the classroom, and we discovered that it was a really, really great entry point for students to explore storytelling in a new way, and in this case, in a digital way.
Inspired by the people of Wekwiti, who took me in over 20 years ago and became like a second family to me. I went out on the land and partook in countless ceremonies and dances with them. More particularly, the book is inspired by the youth who were on the annual canoe trip in 2013 when we traveled from Wekwiti to Bishoko.
In slam poetry, as you might know, to encourage the presenter, you snap, and it's interactive. You're expected to even snap throughout the performance. And hearing the class and the students do that, and then the school do that when they were presenting in front of each other, it's so touching. Like, it's really nice to see students come together in that way and celebrate vulnerability.
We sat at long tables, 10 of us on each side. We were forbidden to talk, forbidden to move from our benches. We worked for 12 hours, elbow to elbow. Lunch was usually soup made of nettles and weeds. Because we were so hungry, we ate whatever was given to us. We had to eat if we wanted to survive. To keep from gagging, I would close my eyes and imagine my mother's chicken soup. At dusk, we lined up outside the factory to be searched. The guards wanted to be sure we were not smuggling anything to use against them.
But when the teacher does that as well, and mentors that and models that, it makes all the difference in the world. So I would say, having the privilege of being in your class, take the time to be a part of the experience as much as you can. We always encourage it, so that your students can also get to see another part of you.
Full videos of all the Springboards 2022 sessions are available on demand to members at atech.org.